everybody. Today I'm making a lamb ragout with sweet potato gratin. And I'm starting off with dicing all of the vegetables, 2 carrots, aubergine, tomatoes, all of that. This recipe is set to be for 2 people, and it has a tiny bit of leftovers also counted in quantity-wise. So it's fairly simple, just cutting the carrots into tiny dice. Next up is the celery, and there's the same thing as with the carrots, washing and cutting the things that I don't need, and then dicing both of these celery things. Just to let you know, this recipe takes quite a bit of time. The preparation phase is already like 30 minutes to 40 minutes, depending how fast you can cut and all of that. So count that in. And cooking time is about 2 hours. So this is not a fast dish. But on Sundays, maybe you want to take some more time for cooking and have a luxurious meal in the end. So next up, I'm dicing the aubergine. The recipe requires for 1 big one, but since they didn't have them in the grocery store, I took 2 smaller ones. Next up, it's the garlic and the onions. I'm just peeling all 3 items and I'm cutting them into slices. So step 1 is done. Now in a separate bowl, I'm cutting all of the tomatoes. Again, just going with bite size. Now the fiddly part starts. I'm cutting and getting all of the tiny bits of the pomegranates. And depending on what quality of pomegranates you get and at what stage you get them, like early in the season or late in the season, they could be very juicy and have dark red seeds, or they're not as juicy like these ones and the seeds are white. They are sweet anyways, so it doesn't matter if you get the red or the white ones. You just have to make sure that you don't have any of that separating skin in there when you peel them, and use any technique you like. Some of them Some people just cut the pomegranate in half and bang on the back. I don't know how you get all of the seeds out that way, but just use your best technique and what you feel comfortable with, removing all of the seeds of both of the pomegranate. Last thing for the preparation is cutting the lamb, and I'm cutting them in bite-sized chunks as well, like maybe 2.5 centimeters. I took filet that was frozen. If you have any other part of the lamb, you just might want to cut some more of the excess fat or whatnot. My strips here are very lean, so I don't have to really cut a lot of bits. Now that all the preparation is done, I'm heading over to the stove, having this big wok pan here. And I'm putting in quite a bit of butter there, letting it melt. And you see there's somebody with me in the kitchen. I had friends over when I cooked this dish. So you might see some more people in the video, at least the legs. So once the butter is melted, I'm adding all of the vegetables that I cut, except the tomato and the pomegranate, which is actually fruit. And I'm just sweating all of these lovely veggies off. I'm on medium-high heat here, and I'm seasoning the vegetables with salt and pepper and thyme. Usually I take fresh thyme, but they didn't have any in the store, so I had to use dried thyme, and it works just as well. It's just not as intense with the flavor when you cook, so the smell is not that prominent, but it's okay for the taste buds. I recommend you use as much thyme as you like. When you go with fresh ones, I would go for 3 to 5 twigs, depending on how big they are. If you take dried one, I would go with 1 to 2 teaspoons, 1 to 2 teaspoons, depending on how much you like the taste of thyme. So I'm just letting the vegetables heat through and sweat, and once in a while I'm stirring. It takes maybe 10 minutes or something, not much longer, and then I can put the veggies to the side, and then I'm taking a very big pot and I'm heating another tablespoon of butter. This pot actually heats very slowly, but once it is hot, it keeps the heat forever. So I kind of like it. So I'm putting in the lamb, and I'm just letting it sit there in the butter, not stirring anything, and I'm just roasting them off for maybe 4 to 5 minutes before I stir them and season them with salt and pepper. Stirring once more, and I'm having quite the crispy crust already there. And then it's time to add the white wine. And I'm going with almost 250 milliliters here, and I'm taking a bit less because I don't want that much of a sauce. But if you don't mind having quite a bit of sauce, take the whole 250 milliliters. After that, I'm adding all of the veggies. And then I'm also adding the tomato. And I'm stirring all of it, and then I'm putting the lid onto the pot, and on a low to medium heat, I'm going to let it cook and simmer for 2 hours. It's okay to let it simmer even more than 2 hours. It doesn't matter, just shorter would not be the greatest tip. And while the lamb and the veggies are cooking, I'm preparing the sweet potato gratin. So with Paleo Kitchen, you don't eat high carbs or any foods that have a lot of carbs. So potato is no option in our kitchen. And a lot of times I'm using sweet potatoes instead of potatoes on gratins or mashes or something. So one of these big sweet potatoes here per person is more than enough. I'm just peeling them, and then I'm washing them off again because the ones that I had were quite earthy. So I don't want to have all the earth and sand on there more than I have to have. So then I'm cutting them in like 0.5 centimeter slices, just like you would with normal potatoes. And once in a while, I also stir the lamb ragout. Once the sweet potato is cut, I'm putting it into one of these tiny lasagna forms. I really like them. Every person has its own little lasagna form on their dinner mat or wood. I really like it. It's just nice to the eye. Once everything is peeled, cut, and separated, I'm cracking 2 eggs, and I'm using large eggs, by the way. And then I'm taking 250 milliliters of cream. And I'm just whisking it with the eggs, just getting everything through. But I like to season my stuff before I mix everything and whisk it. So it's just salt and pepper, nothing fancy. It's just enough to give the sweet potatoes a nice flavor or touch. They are so aromatic, and they have such a great taste, those sweet potatoes, that they are slightly sweet when they come out of the oven. Like as it says in the name, sweet potato, but when you roast them, it's like so delicious, and you don't have to add a lot of other spices or herbs to sweet potatoes. So once that's mixed, I'm getting my lasagna dishes in. You see, they're really tiny, so one for each person is, well, it's just perfectly enough. And I'm just distributing the egg and cream sauce in both of these dishes. adding a tiny bit of butter on top of both of the dishes. And then I'm putting it into the oven at 180 degrees centigrade. And I'm going to bake them for about 40 to 45 minutes. It depends on if you take, or if you have a hot oven or not. So check it maybe at 35 minutes. So once the gratin is baked, and I just add the pomegranate for the last like 1.5 or 2 minutes to the ragout, and I'm leaving it uncovered just to let them warm through a tiny bit. And then I can plate up the food, the dinner, and that's that. So I hope you enjoyed watching along. If you have any questions, please let me know, and give this recipe a try. Try it out. It's very, very yummy, and it's perfect November, early December food in the Northern Hemisphere, because all of it is seasonal. So enjoy, have a very good day. I'm going to see you on the next video. Goodbye.